Welcome back to Random Things with BK. Today we're going to build a jig in order to be able to install these spindles on my newly upgraded staircase. And we're going to be using just a scrap piece of wood that I have to make the jig out of. And we're going to do a few tool tips along the way to show you how to figure out a few things in order to be able to make the jig. The first one is I have this handy drill bit slash bolt gauge, and it has all these different measurements of holes and on it. And so in order to figure out what size drill bit I need to use to have this fairly tight in the step, I'm going to use this gauge and find where the best it is, and it looks like it's a 1/2 inch. So you can see on there that it fits in the 1/2 inch hole, which is great. So now I know when I make my guide holes in my jig that I want them to accept a 1/2 inch drill bit. And so that'll be something we'll be doing in a little bit. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to figure out the spacing for the two holes on the jig and the distance from the edge of the step tread in on the step so that we can be straight up and down and hit the railing up above. So we're going to go do that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the step tread and make our marks where where we're going to mount or drill the hole down. And we're only doing that because I need a place to make sure that the plumb bob is hitting exactly level where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to come out 3 3/4 from the step tread, because this is what works out on my step treads. So right here, 3 3/4, I'm gonna make a mark. And then just to be sure, I'm gonna come out again 3 3/4 from that one. And so that will be my second one, okay? Now that I have those two marks, and I don't want them to be too dark because I'll be drilling through them, so that's why it's okay to mark them. But next, I'm going to take my plumb bob, and on my railing, I know that this railing is 4 inches thick, okay? So I need, my plumb bob is going to be at the 2 inch mark because I want it to be directly in the middle of this. So I'm going to measure 2 inches from the edge, and I'm going to make a little mark there so that I can get my plumb bob fairly centered. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the plumb bob and I'm going to, the best I can, line it up over that hole for now just to get it close. And then I'm going to drop it down to where it's about touching but not touching, just above. And then I'm going to tie this off. All right, so now we're going to scooch it over. We're going to get it to that 2 inch mark that we put in. And I'm looking here. And what I want it to do is I want it to hang straight down. So once I have it in that 2 inch area, it's going to go straight down. And then what I can do is I can measure from the edge of the board to the middle of my plumb bob. And if you buy a plumb bob at the store, it'll actually have a point on it. This is a homemade one. All you need is really a rope and something heavy on the end of it. All right, so we're sitting at right at 1 5/8 inches to the center of that. So my distance from the edge of my my jig in is going to be 1 5/8 inches. And now we're going to go back out to the garage and make our jig. Okay, so I know that I want my my jig to be 3 3/4 and 3 3/4 away from the side of the steps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure. That would be, you know, I'm going to make this about my jig about 10 inches long, so that I have plenty of space in which to, you know, have it on the step and do what I need. So I'm just gonna, it doesn't have to be the exact distance because I'm gonna drill a hole at 3 3/4 and then 3 3/4. So we're gonna make a mark and set that on there just like that. And then we'll make our mark across, and we'll cut this off real quick. All right, so we've got that cut now, and then because we're gonna set this on the edge, we're gonna set this on the flat part of the step, and then we're gonna have a little piece another piece that hangs off the edge of the step so that we get our distance correct. I'm gonna cut another 10-inch piece so that we can attach it to that. All right. Now, just so I can keep up with it, I'm going to draw an arrow on here because that is the side that's going to butt up against the stair. So that's my straight side. Then I'm also going to put an arrow here so I know that that's my backside. And then we're going to put these two together. Okay, now I'm going to attach this with my finish nailer and just some 3-inch nails just to make it easy, since it's only 1-inch thick board. Nail does a lot better than a screw. And as you can see, now I've built this sturdy little L-shaped deal. Our first hole needs to be 3 3/4 from the end. So I'm going to go ahead and make a mark for that right there. And then I'm going to measure in 1 5/8 inches from the edge of my board there. So I'm coming in 1 5/8 inches right there. And once I get that line in, I can come back over here and do my 3 3/4 again to get my cross. We know we're close, so we're just going to come over here. We'll get our 1 5/8 inches mark right there. And then we'll make that mark just a little bit longer. And then we're going to get our mark here again for our 3 3/4. Which is right there. All right, we'll take our speed square and check it again, and see, this time we're dead on both lines, so we're good to go. And we can drill our 2 holes now. Now, when I'm drilling holes and I don't want to go down into the surface like my workbench, I like to just grab a scrap piece of 2x4 that I don't really care about. I keep some of these laying around, and I'll just put that under it so that I can drill my hole and it won't hurt anything.
What are you using?
And if you remember, at the beginning we measured our baluster, and the hole on our baluster was a 1/2 inch. So we're going to drill a 1/2 inch hole in our jig. So I'm going to get that lined up right in my mark there. All right, that's our first one. Line this up for the second. All right. So, as you can see, we have our 2 holes in there. So when I get ready to drill into the steps, I'll just be able to line this up on the staircase, and then I'll be able to drill my holes straight in. And that's how you create a jig to put in your balusters on your stairs. So if you will follow us for our next video, we'll be actually installing the balusters on the stairs, and we will show you how to do that. If this video was helpful, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.